Hi everyone, welcome to Talk Easy. Today, Catherine and Mike will discuss behavioral idioms like actions speak louder than words, hit the nail on the head, and jump to conclusions. Learn how to describe actions and personalities with these phrases. Let's get started.
We all know that saying actions speak louder than words.
Right.
But today, let's take a deep dive into what that really means.
Yeah.
And how understanding this and other behavioral idioms can help you in everyday life.
Yeah.
We'll uncover some fascinating origins
All right.
and maybe even pick up
Okay.
some tips on how to use these phrases like a pro.
So these idioms often capture universal truths about people.
Yeah.
Even if the exact words are different across cultures, it's like
Okay.
a shared language of human behavior.
Exactly. Along with actions speak louder than words.
Yeah.
We'll be exploring, hit the nail on the head,
Hmm.
and jump to conclusions.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Right.
Mastering these can make you a sharper observer
Oh, yeah.
of the people around you.
Yeah.
Imagine decoding your boss's real intentions just by understanding the nuances
Yeah.
of their language.
It's like having a secret decoder ring for human behavior.
Yeah.
It can be incredibly valuable, both personally and professionally.
Okay, let's unpack.
Okay.
Actions speak louder than words.
Mm-hmm.
It seems straightforward,
Yeah.
but there's a surprising depth to this one.
It's not just about actions being important.
Right.
It's about recognizing that actions
Right.
often reveal a person's true character,
Okay.
even when their words say something different.
Okay.
Think of it as a way to gauge sincerity and credibility.
So it's like when a friend is always promising
Yeah.
to help you out,
Uh-huh.
but then conveniently disappears when you actually need them.
Exactly.
Their words are saying one thing,
Mm-mm.
but their actions are telling a whole different story.
Precisely. And this concept plays out
Yeah.
on larger scales, too.
Okay.
A great historical example is Abraham Lincoln.
Okay.
Now, Lincoln was known for being an incredibly powerful speaker,
Oh, wow.
but even he
Yeah.
emphasized deeds over words.
That's interesting. It seems almost counterintuitive
Yeah.
that a master communicator
Yeah.
would place such a strong emphasis on actions.
It makes sense when you consider the context during the Civil War.
Right.
Lincoln faced immense division and uncertainty. He knew words alone wouldn't save the Union.
Okay.
He needed people to act, to enlist,
Yeah.
to support the war effort,
Mhm.
to show their commitment through tangible actions.
Okay.
And his own actions served as the most powerful example.
So it's more than just pointing out hypocrisy.
Yeah,
It's a call to action itself.
exactly.
And it's about holding people accountable,
Right.
including ourselves.
Right.
This makes me think about a specific example
Yeah.
from Lincoln's presidency.
Okay.
He issued the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863,
Right.
which declared enslaved people
Uh-huh.
in Confederate states forever free.
Mm.
This was a bold move
Yeah.
that faced considerable opposition,
Yeah.
even from some
Mm-hmm.
within his own administration.
It was a pivotal moment
Yeah.
where Lincoln's actions demonstrated his unwavering commitment to ending slavery,
Right.
despite the political risks and challenges.
Yeah,
His actions spoke louder than any words could have in that situation.
that's a great point.
Yeah.
It really brings the idiom to life.
Hmm.
So for our listeners,
Okay.
what's the takeaway here
Hmm.
when it comes to using actions speak louder than words effectively?
Focus on evaluating sincerity and credibility in
Right.
all your relationships,
Mhm.
from personal to professional.
Right.
Pay attention to patterns of behavior over time. Do their actions align with their words?
Yeah.
If not,
Yeah.
that discrepancy speaks volumes.
So we've seen how actions reveal true intentions.
Right.
But what about when those actions are laser focused
Mhm.
on solving a problem?
Okay.
That brings us to our next idiom.
Yeah.
Hit the nail on the head.
Yes. This one is all about precision and accuracy.
Uh-huh.
It suggests a deep understanding of an issue
Okay.
and the ability to address it with pinpoint effectiveness.
I use this one all the time,
Yeah.
but I've never really thought about where it comes from.
Right.
It's such a vivid image.
The origin is quite literal, as
Yeah.
you might guess.
Okay.
Think about carpentry.
Right.
To hit the nail on the head
Uh-huh.
means to strike it perfectly,
Mm.
driving it straight without bending it.
Okay.
It's about achieving the desired result
Yeah.
with skill and efficiency.
So it's more than just being right.
Exactly.
It's about getting to the core of an issue
Yes.
and addressing it with perfect precision.
And this metaphorical usage has been around for centuries.
Wow.
Interestingly, one of the earliest documented metaphorical uses of hit the nail on the head comes from a 15th century legal text.
Oh, wow.
It was used to describe a lawyer who perfectly articulated a legal argument, striking at the very heart of the case.
Wow. So it really has stood the test of time.
Yeah.
And its journey from the carpentry workshop to the courtroom is pretty fascinating.
It is.
It shows how language evolves and adapts to new contexts.
Absolutely. It's a testament to the power of metaphor and how we draw inspiration from everyday experiences to express complex ideas.
Okay, so let's say you're in a meeting.
Okay.
And a colleague suggests an idea that brilliantly solves a complex problem.
Right.
How would you use hit the nail on the head to praise their insight?
You could say something like,
wow,
you really hit the nail on the head with that suggestion.
Uh-huh.
It addresses every aspect of the issue.
Right.
It acknowledges their understanding of the problem and their ability to find a targeted solution.
It's a great way to give a specific compliment
Exactly.
that recognizes their insightfulness.
It goes beyond a simple good job and highlights the quality of their thinking.
This makes me think about how often this idiom pops up in everyday conversation. It's one of those phrases that seems to transcend generations.
It's true. You hear it everywhere.
Yeah.
In casual conversations, in the workplace, even in movies and TV shows.
Yeah.
It's become ingrained in our language.
And it makes sense when you think about how universally valuable precision and accuracy are. Whether you're building a house, crafting an argument, or solving a problem, hitting the nail on the head is always a good thing.
Absolutely. And it speaks to the importance of clear thinking and analysis in any field.
Okay, so we've talked about actions revealing intentions.
Okay.
And hitting the nail on the head with solutions. Now let's tackle the dangers of rushing to judgment. That's where jump to conclusions comes in.
This idiom highlights the pitfalls of making assumptions without having all the facts.
Yeah.
And it's particularly relevant in today's world where we're constantly bombarded with information.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up in the rush to judgment.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Social media
is a breeding ground for jumping to conclusions.
It is. We often base our opinions on incomplete information. Or even our own biases, leading to misunderstandings and unnecessary conflict. Think about those times you've overanalyzed an unanswered text message or email. We tend to fill in the blanks with our own assumptions, which often aren't accurate.
That's me all the time.
Yeah.
I'm definitely guilty of creating unnecessary drama in my head. Based on very little information. But even beyond personal interactions, this tendency to jump to conclusions can have serious consequences.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Misinformation spreads rapidly. And it's easier than ever to form opinions without fully understanding the complexities of a situation.
It's like everyone's become an armchair detective, trying to piece together a story from scattered clues without having the full picture. But before we dive deeper into that, let's take a quick step back and explore the origins of jump to conclusions. When did this phrase become part of our lexicon?
Well, while its exact origins are difficult to pin down, it's believed that jump to conclusions gained popularity in the 19th century. Some language experts suggest that this might be linked to the increasing social complexity and communication challenges of that era.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
As societies become more complex, it's easy to see how communication could become more prone to misinterpretations and hasty judgments. But before we explore that further, I think it's time to get your insights on a little role-playing scenario. Are you game?
Absolutely. Let's bring these idioms to life. I'm ready when you are. Give me the scenario.
Okay, imagine you're hanging out with a friend. And they accuse you of being annoyed with them because you didn't respond to their text message right away. How would you use jump to conclusions to address that?
I'd probably keep it lighthearted and say something like,
Okay.
Hey, don't jump to conclusions. I was just in a meeting and couldn't respond.
Right.
It acknowledges their concern while also gently reminding them to hold off on assumptions.
That's a great example of using the idiom to de-escalate a situation and encourage open communication.
It's about reminding ourselves and others to gather all the facts before making judgments.
It's a good reminder.
Yeah.
Especially in today's fast-paced world.
Right.
But taking a step back to gather information can be tough when our brains are wired to seek patterns and explanations.
It's true. And this is where understanding some common cognitive biases can be really helpful.
Okay.
Things like confirmation bias,
Right.
where we seek out information that confirms our existing beliefs.
Oh, yeah.
Or the availability heuristic,
Right.
where we overestimate the likelihood of events that are easily recalled, can all contribute to us jumping to conclusions.
So being aware of these biases can help us avoid those pitfalls.
Absolutely. The more we understand how our minds work, the better equipped we are to challenge our own assumptions.
So assumptions are often based on incomplete information or even our own biases.
Exactly.
Speaking of assumptions, let's shift gears and try a role-playing scenario with actions speak louder than words.
Got it.
Imagine you're giving advice to a friend who's having relationship trouble. Their partner keeps promising to change, but their behavior never seems to match up. How would you use the idiom to offer some guidance?
I might say something like, sometimes actions speak louder than words. It's great that they're making promises, but what truly matters is if they follow through. Pay attention to their actions and what they actually do.
Not just what they say.
That's a really compassionate way to encourage your friend to look beyond the words. It's like you're subtly giving them permission to trust their own observations.
Exactly. It's about empowering them to make informed decisions based on the reality of the situation.
Okay, one last scenario for you. This time with hit the nail on the head. Imagine you're in a brainstorming session at work and someone suggests an idea that perfectly addresses a challenging problem. How would you use the idiom to acknowledge their brilliant insight?
I'd probably say something like, you totally hit the nail on the head with that suggestion. That's exactly the kind of creative thinking we need to solve this.
It not only praises their idea, but also highlights how their insight perfectly addresses the core of the issue. It's a great example of how hit the nail on the head
can be used to give a specific and meaningful compliment.
Exactly. It goes beyond just saying good job and recognizes the quality of their thinking.
We've been talking about these idioms in the context of English. But you mentioned earlier that they often reflect universal truth about people. Can you elaborate on that?
Absolutely. While the specific phrases might differ across cultures, the underlying concepts often resonate globally. The idea that actions reveal true character, that precision is valuable, and that hasty judgments can lead to problems. These are themes you'll find expressed in various ways around the world. For instance, many Asian cultures place a strong emphasis on nonverbal communication. And observing someone's actions is a way to understand their true intentions, even if they don't have a phrase directly translating to actions speak louder than words.
That's fascinating. It really highlights how language can be a window into different cultural values.
It is, and it's a reminder that even though we might express these ideas in different ways, we're all navigating similar human experiences.
I love that. So even though the words may change, the message remains universal.
It does.
Are there any other examples of how these idioms show up in different cultures?
Absolutely. The idea of hitting the nail on the head often appears in proverbs or sayings that emphasize precision and accuracy. For example, in Japanese culture, there's a proverb that roughly translates to hit the target with one arrow. It highlights the value of skill, focus, and achieving a desired outcome with efficiency, just like hitting the nail on the head does in English.
It's amazing to see how these shared human experiences find expression across different languages. It speaks to a common thread that connects us all.
Yeah.
Despite our differences.
Oh, it really does. And it's one of the things that makes studying language, and especially idioms, so intriguing.
Yeah.
They give us a glimpse into the shared values, beliefs, and experiences that shape our understanding of the world.
This has been so insightful.
It has.
I feel like I've gained a deeper understanding of these idioms and a broader perspective on how language reflects human nature.
I completely agree. It's been a joy exploring these nuances.
Well, dear listeners,
Okay.
we've covered a lot of ground in this part of our deep dive.
Right.
We've put these idioms into action through role-playing scenarios and explored how these concepts transcend cultures.
And that brings us to our final part.
Okay.
We'll recap our key takeaways
Yeah.
and leave you with a thought-provoking challenge
Right.
to integrate these idioms into your life.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to our final dive into the world of behavioral idioms.
Yeah.
We've unpacked their meanings,
Right.
explored their origin, and even role-played a few scenarios. But before we wrap up, let's do a quick recap for those who might have just joined us.
Okay.
Today, we've been deep diving into 3 idioms that are all about understanding human behavior.
Right.
The first one is actions speak louder than words.
This reminds us to look beyond what people say and focus on what they actually do.
Yeah.
It's a powerful tool for evaluating sincerity and holding people accountable for their actions.
We also explored hit the nail on the head, which is all about precision accuracy and getting to the core of an issue.
Right.
It's a great way to praise someone's insightfulness and their ability to find a targeted solution.
And finally, we tackled jump to conclusions, which cautions us against making hasty judgments without having all the facts. It encourages patience, critical thinking, and open communication.
Now, I'm curious about how this all plays out in real life.
Right.
What are some ways our listeners can start to notice these idioms in action in their own lives?
Here's a thought-provoking challenge for you.
Okay.
Pay attention to the language people use in your everyday interactions.
Right.
Do you notice any patterns?
Yeah.
For example, does your boss tend to emphasize actions over words?
Right.
Or maybe you have a friend who's always quick to jump to conclusions.
That's like we're giving them a secret decoder ring for human behavior.
Right.
It can be incredibly valuable.
It is.
Both personally and professionally.
Exactly. By becoming more aware of these subtle cues, you'll gain a deeper understanding of the people around you and how they communicate.
Right.
It's like becoming a detective
of human nature.
Maybe you've even found yourself using one of these idioms in a conversation recently.
Right.
You might be surprised at how often these phrases pop up in our everyday language.
It's true.
This deep dive has been so insightful.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much we can learn about human behavior just by exploring the nuances of language.
I completely agree. And I hope our listeners feel empowered to use these idioms more confidently in their own lives.
So, dear listeners, keep those ears open.
Okay.
And start noticing these idioms in action.
Right.
You might be surprised at what you discover.
And until next time, happy deep diving.